Have you ever looked around your workplace and asked yourself, is this it? Is a paycheck all the reward you'll ever get from your job? Lots of people do. And our next guest has some thoughts on how to give your work more meaning and improve your life in the new year. Daniel Pink is the best-selling author of Drive and A Whole New Mind, and on his TED Talk on the surprising science of motivation has been viewed more than 5.5 million times. His new book is To Sell is Human, The Surprising Truth About Moving Others. Good morning, Daniel. Thanks for being with us.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
So how does one confront that condition that we talked about, that we've all felt at one point or another, which is that all there is? This job is just boring.
Yeah, well, actually, the social science gives us some hints about how to do that a little bit better, how to find a little bit more meaning. It turns out there are three key factors. One is a sense of autonomy, having some control over what you do, how you do it, when you do it. Another one is a sense of mastery, that is, getting better at something that matters, improving, making progress. And a third is a sense of purpose, that is, connecting what you do each day to something a little bit larger than yourself, so that you know that you're making a contribution. And those actually end up being pretty enduring motivators if people learn some of the habits of how to put them into place in their work lives.
When you look at that list, the second two to me are internal. You could kind of come up with those. Autonomy is much more difficult sometimes in a workplace environment. How do you establish that?
Yeah, it's well, the key is to look at the key components of our work, which is our time, our task, our technique, and our team. And even small steps that you can take to have a little bit more control, ask for maybe a little bit more flex time on the time dimension, ask for perhaps a new assignment, try to get some sovereignty, some control over how you actually do things on the job. It's actually very important. The technique part is very important for people in seemingly routine jobs. If they have some control over how they actually do it, they're more likely to be engaged.
Do you think employers understand that sometimes it's healthier for employees to have autonomy because it gives them a sense of more control?
I think most employers don't get that at all. They tend to think that they're concerned about engagement. That's the watchword throughout corporate America. But human beings don't engage by being controlled or managed. Human beings engage by getting there under their own steam. And so if you really want engagement rather than merely compliance or boredom, you got to offer some measure of autonomy.
So this has got to come from both sides, is what you're saying.
It is a two-way street, absolutely.
You say employees can learn from Bob the Builder. I've admittedly not seen Bob the Builder, the
cartoon.
You're
missing out.
I can tell you all about Bob the Builder.
It's Anthony's favorite show, which is why we had this segment. But how does that work?
Well, what's interesting is that when we think about motivating ourselves before, say, a big encounter or important meeting or something like that, the conventional view is that we should pump ourselves up. We should say, you can do it. But actually, what the social science tells us is that we should do something a little bit different, that we should actually question whether we can do something. So if I were to go into a big meeting, instead of saying, Dan, you can do it, that might feel good. Okay, I like that warm bath of affirmation that I'm giving myself. But I'm better off saying, Dan, can you do this? Why? Because questions are active. I have to respond, even if it's self-talk. And when you respond, you begin to give yourselves the strategies, the tools, the techniques for doing it a little bit better. So when I say, can you do this? I say, well, yeah, I can. I've pitched ideas at a meeting before. I'm well prepared. I care what I'm thinking about. Oh, and don't forget to mention this one point. And so it's a much more muscular form of motivation. So we should, and Bob the Builder, Rebecca, his watch phrase for motivating himself and his employees is, can we fix it?
And the answer is yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
And he's giving, so we should listen less to Tony Robbins, more to Bob the Builder.
Bob the Builder, my 6-year-old. When my son was 6, he could quote that verbatim. Your TED Talk has been viewed 5.5 million times, I think, more than that now. Were you surprised at the response to it?
Yes, shocked. Would you like me to elaborate?
We love having you, Daniel Pink. Thank you so much.